a managed float. Okay, let me read this part first. A managed float where the exchange rate is influenced by the state intervention to maintain the value of a currency within a band. Okay, so what does this mean? That means there will have trade of currency happening in the market. Okay, so the currency will float in the market, but as we know that in the floating exchange rate, value may change drastically. Okay, sometime it will be appreciating pretty high, sometime it will be depreciating pretty low. Okay, so what we see, probably government would not like that to happen. Okay, and as we have seen, if currency is pretty much volatile, or let's say floating exchange rate is pretty much volatile, that will discourage trading and investing. So government would not like that to happen. Okay, so what to do? Government would try to tune that. Okay, which means that exchange rate should not go high too much, should not go low too much. So that means they will create a range. Okay, now that range is here mentioned as a band. Okay, now they will have a higher band, upper band, or the lower band. Okay, now again, in this case, what we see, that exchange rate will float in the market, but with the government intervention. Okay, now we see from this graph, initially demand and supply is intersecting here, so this would be the price. Okay, now as we see that this price seems to be under PA and PV. Now this PA and PV is actually upper band and lower band. So if it is inside this, no problem. But what happens in the market? Demand increases somehow. So we see now the range, okay, is going beyond. That means exchange rate is a little bit higher. Now if that happens, immediately government would like to do something. Now whenever they try to do something, that is intervention. Now here in this case, what will happen? Government may like to sell local currency. Okay, if government sells local currency, then supply of that currency will increase, and then the value will be within the range. Okay, now this one we can discuss in more detail. Anyways, so here in this case we see devaluation is happening. Okay, now to understand the devaluation, let us get the graph once again, because it's not about devaluation, but there are some other things too to focus. Again, what we see, the upper band and lower band probably would be working like price ceiling and price floor that we have learned in earlier chapters. But one difference is this price ceiling and price floor probably would not be considered as a legal band. Okay, so unlike the price ceiling in the market, where if prices go higher than this price, then that is illegal. If prices go lower than this price, then that is illegal in case of price floor. Okay, so the legal issue may not be there, but it is just to express that the exchange rate should not go higher than this price, okay, or this range, and exchange rate should not go below this. Okay, that's why we are explaining this as a range or as a band. Now what happens, as per the earlier graph, we see demand is increasing. Okay, if demand is increasing, then again we see the value is increasing. Okay, value of that currency is increasing. As a result, now government would like to do something. So whenever they would like to do something, here I have used one more example, buy treasury bills. Okay, and now treasury bills are something, probably you may see in future, or some of you probably have seen. Treasury bills, like government would create a certificate, okay, and then sell it to others. When they sell, they receive money. Okay, now what happens? Sometimes government also buy that back. So now the bill is with somebody else, let's say, namely calling that the bank or investors. Now government may like to buy that back. Okay, they will say, okay, we have got enough money, So right now we want to get that bills back. So in order to getting that back, they will pay money. So when they pay money, that money circulation in the economy increases. Okay, or in terms of currency increases. Now, treasury bills, in case of treasury bills, what happens when people would buy that from government, government will pay them some interest. And that's why treasury bills is considered as safe and secured investment. And that's why there are many people or investors, they would like to buy that. Okay, so treasury bills will be bought back. Okay, when government buys that back, government will pay money. As a result, currency will supply. Now, currency supply increasing means exchange rate of that currency will go down to here. That means within this range, okay, under this price ceiling. So as a result, now it is controlled. Okay. Again, what will happen? What if there is lower demand for that currency? Now we see if the lower demand happens, then the value goes down. Okay. So the value is lower than price floor, and government does not that to happen. And why government does not want that to happen? We know it. Okay, it is connected with import and export, and as a result, they don't want the value to be too much lower or to be too much higher. Okay, so now see the value is lower. So what we are going to do, or let's say the government is going to do, increase the value. Okay, so in that case, they will sell the treasury bills. If sell the treasury bills means money will be taken out of that economy. Now, as a result, supply of money will decrease. Okay, that currency will decrease, causing new equilibrium to be here, which means again within this band. Okay, now the first case, the value was here, then the value went down there. So this is like depreciating the currency, but here in this case, we would not say it is depreciation because this depreciation is happening with the intervention by the government. Okay, that's why we call that devaluation of the pound. Okay, whereas we see in this case the value was depreciating by itself, and then government did something, so the value went up. So here the currency is being appreciated. Now again, it is not happening by itself, and it is happening with the intervention by the government. So we call that revaluation of pound. I guess you guys know it pretty much well. Please let me know if you have any question.